what I want to do is give a bit of background about assessment in mathematics and why it's really quite a problem when we're thinking about moving over to more computer-based learning. I think that we have a quite deeply entrenched teach-to-test culture that seems to affect maths in many ways more than other subjects. I have an analogy about this, which is that if you think about a male peacock, it's a really beautiful bird, isn't it, a male peacock? Fantastic, fantastic thing. But all of this kind of evolutionary pressure on male peacocks is to attract female peacocks. And so they develop these fantastic tails. But the problem is that that makes them good at attracting female peacocks. It makes them good at passing that test, if you like. But if you view the function of a bird to be to fly, male peacocks are absolutely rubbish at flying because the evolutionary pressure of sexual selection, if you like, has turned them into being very good at that and very bad at flying. And I think that one of the things that can happen with assessments is that it can drive the curriculum in exactly that way. So we have students actually in schools that are preparing students to take tests. If you ask a student, a teenager, why are you learning maths, they will say, because I need to pass the examination. If you ask them how they're doing, then there's a very high probability they'll say, well, my teacher says I'm about level 6B at the moment. Now that, I think, is a terrible indictment of our current system. So there really is a difficulty that we've got to overcome. I think what we need to do is to reconnect with why we're teaching maths, with what it's for. What we want to do is to produce people who can operate and use mathematical reasoning effectively in their lives, isn't it? We want to be able to forward society by providing maths education. But on an individual basis at the moment, so on the basis of school and how schools are judged, what is good for them is to get good exam results, not to get a good maths education. And there's a real problem there. I mean, I've got a lot of sympathy with Tim Oakes, who was speaking yesterday. His job is very, very difficult indeed. A lot of sympathy with the awarding bodies and the job that they've got to do. That's a very, very hard job. We have a culture that's very, very difficult to overcome. So that's a starting point. I think that CBM, using computers in mathematics, they're a key part of how maths is used in the world. So it's definitely the case that we should be making more use of computers in maths education. And I think that it also helps to motivate students. I mean, I'm a very experienced A-level maths teacher, and the question you always suffer is that they say, well, how are we going to use this maths in the real world? When you start to use real-world examples with the maths they learn at A-level, suddenly the computation becomes too hard. If you have a computer to help you, you can do real things. And I think that there's a great amount of potential there. But a really important thing is that, when Alison made the point earlier, that you've got to integrate curriculum development and assessment together at the same time. If you try to integrate computer-based learning into mathematics education without getting involved in the assessments, then it just won't happen, because the schools are not driven by maths education, they're driven by exam results. They'll say, if you don't change the assessment, you don't make the computer-based learning an integral part of the assessment, nothing will happen. And that, I think, that's a real challenge that we've got to overcome. So, I think not getting in the assessment and not getting the assessment in a meaningful way would be catastrophic in the country that we're in at the moment. So, yeah, I think I've probably said all I need to say at the start. I'll hand over to the next person. Okay, thank you.